can't believe it, honestly, that Bethesda actually pulled it off and made Starfield a great game. I didn't have that high hopes for the game and thought it would be mid at best, but after playing a decent amount, I can confidently say it's way better than expected. From the vast amount of planets and settlements with unique environments, characters and quests, to the fabulous dialogue, quest choices, and that utterly mind-blowing shipbuilding and customization. Starfield is certainly a game for the ages and deserves praise for being a Bethesda-type role-playing game with space travel included. This video contains many heavy spoilers. Starfield is the latest big budget RPG coming out of Bethesda and Xbox, and by God, if you like space exploration, if you like the Elon Musk fantasy of colonising the galaxy, you'll love this game. It has so much freedom, you can play in so many different ways and act however you want. The story takes you all across the Milky Way galaxy, exploring the mysteries of the stars with Constellation, go as an undercover cop, investigating the pirate faction to bring law and order to the galaxy, or become one of those pirates to scourge the galaxy and steal as much loot as you can. Or, how about the Buzz Lightyear route and become a space ranger, a maverick bounty hunter of sorts, and will you put your morals above money? Who are your allies? And who has the knife already an inch from your back? There are so many different things to do in this wonderful game. So Starfield was rumoured to have begun development all the way back in 2015, after the release of their last good title to me at least, Fallout 4. But was delayed for many reasons. Pandemic probably took a toll on development, and let's be honest, Bethesda does have a history of buggy games. So they probably wanted to change that reputation and add some real polish to their latest creation. But as well, back in 2020, wow, was it actually that long ago? Jesus. Xbox went and just bought ZeniMax, who owned Bethesda, and therefore owned Starfield. This was one of the biggest video game acquisitions in history at the time. And this meant Starfield was in the hands of Phil Spencer, and oh boy, were they going to take advantage of this. This obviously meant that Starfield would become an Xbox and PC exclusive, and of course, be used as the poster child to sell Game Pass subscriptions, as it was coming to that as well. The teaser trailer in 2021 fueled hype for those excited for this game, especially me, looking absolutely gorgeous, and a first glimpse at our very own spaceship, and a buddy. This made Starfield one of the most hyped games at the time. It was really going to be the Skyrim in space that we all wanted, with a set release date of November 2022. But like most things now, it was later delayed until 2023, with a gameplay reveal at the Xbox Showcase of 2022, which for me at least was a bit of a mixed bag. It showed the core aspects within the game of Starfield, with your landing down, scanning the terrain, and even mining just like No Man's Sky. Arguably what the game is most compared to. The showcase then showed us combat in the game, with you fighting space pirates in an abandoned facility. It then ran through a quick bit about the story of the game, character customization, and the perk system, and oh boy, that ship customization looks epic, with the final reveal that there are over 1,000 planets and moons that you could land on and explore. I was still excited by it, but I remember telling my mate at the time that I thought the combat looked a bit plain, and I was not a fan of the UI at all, as I thought it looked very boring, but it does match that setting. I mean, I don't want a Persona 5 UI, but it did seem a bit robotic and corporate. Still hyped for it though, especially with the idea of planet hopping and all the things to do in the game. 2023 was going to be the year of Starfield. So let's start with me. I'm not the biggest RPG fan really, but I have played Skyrim, Fallout 3 and 4 and New Vegas, so I was familiar with good Bethesda games. But after quite possibly my worst playing experience in history with Fallout 76, I mean, Jesus, I have never, ever been so disappointed in a game before or since. My brother liked it, but if you want to know what he likes, he actually likes the Saints Row remake, so yeah, terrible opinions from him. But what the hell was the release of Fallout 76? So I was very conflicted in whether they could actually pull it off. A lot thought that after Fallout 76 that they were done. And especially after Redfall, this was carrying Bethesda. Starfield needed to be a hit for them. They could not rely on nostalgia any longer. That fuel tank had dried up. Bethesda needed this to be a success, and Xbox needed it more, as they really haven't had anything comparable to PlayStation in terms of exclusives, and thankfully for me at least, they did not disappoint. Xbox and Bethesda won with Starfield. Before the game came out, I remember just thinking, isn't this just No Man's Sky with a better story possibly? I mean look, mining laser, flying spaceships, landing on planets. Is this a Control-C, Control-V situation? And I think a lot of people may have had this sentiment towards the game before release. I mean, let's be honest, when anything comes out, we always compare it to similar products in the market. And it's clear as day that they took heavy inspiration from No Man's Sky. But they certainly put their own little Bethesda spin on things and improved in some areas, but there are some areas that No Man's Sky excels and blows Starfield out the water. The game starts off in a mine where you are working at, and after a quick tutorial of the mining mechanics with your cutter and how to harvest resources, you find this strange relic. And after mining the surrounding rock, you grab the relic and... Oh, what the hell is this? Ah, my head! What the hell was that? It's like I saw the whole universe in my head. Gives a whole new meaning to Galaxy Brain. I wonder what the hell that was. And seeing that makes you the special one within the game. Typical. We are then brought back and greeted with a robust and extensive character customization where you can select a whole manner of things from everything on the face, body shape, which is something Bethesda has always excelled at and is a decent one, but could be better as there is no height adjustment, which annoys me as a tall guy. And I get it from a game design perspective, as you've made all the environments and ships with a set height in mind, so I get it, but annoying. But what's this? Pronouns? What are pronouns doing in my fantasy space exploration game? This is an outrage. Now, I am far from woke, don't like any of that BS, think it's gone way too far, but this doesn't bother me personally, except they fucked me over as I put my name in, then I wanted to see what options the pronouns were, and I had no idea it reset my name, so I wasn't Eric, I was Player for like the first 12 hours or so. Hello Sarah, my name's Player. Yeah, my parents hated me. Anyway, joking aside, let's get into the actual game itself. You kill your first set of space pirates and you get your first gun after meeting Barrett, the first member of Constellation in the game, and oh, thanks mate, I can't believe, look, he's given me his own shit, a frontier, and now it's mine, as you take control and use it to kill a bunch of pirates in a facility and fly off to the capital city of New Atlantis, the main hub for most playthroughs. So, better get used to it. It is very beautiful and has everything from all the shops you could want, coffee shops, apartments, a seedy underbelly, and a beautiful park filled with flora. You go to the lodge, generic name, and meet the NPCs for this game, a group called Constellation. A group of randos who share nothing in common with each other, except that burning desire to explore and discover the secrets of the universe. They each all have their unique and different personalities with their own thoughts and beliefs on everything. They all have a part to play in the game and you'll see them all the way throughout your playthrough. Now this Constellation group is your route through the game, and their quest serves as the main story. But please, for God's sake, if you are going to or are currently playing this game, don't rush through it. Explore other side quests, other factions, meet other NPCs, explore. Truly experience Starfield before finishing the main campaign. Try the whole game before you finish the Constellation quest, as finishing that will start New Game Plus. The galaxy then opens up to you and wow, there are actually over 1,000 different planets and moons that you can set sail to and land upon. This is one of the greatest strengths and features. I want to go to that. Cabin crew prepare for landing. And that moment when I first discovered you could actually pinpoint anywhere on a planet and land there, not just the little icons that they already give you, my mind was blown, as I went to Earth and went to my hometown of Manchester, but Earth is this desert world. How did that happen, I wonder? You do find out, by the way. And let me just take a moment to appreciate the breathtaking visuals of this game. These skyboxes, these cities, the terrain, the textures, it's all fantastic and a feast for the eyes. But as mentioned before, there is one glaring difference between this and No Man's Sky, space travel itself. If you haven't played it, in No Man's Sky, it's very seamless. You go in your ship, you take off, fly through the atmosphere and then into space. Then fly to whichever object you want to explore next. How is the travel in Starfield, I wonder? Well, I go to my ship, I take off with a cutscene. Now I'm in space. Now I have to go back into the menu, select a planet, travel to that planet. If I could even make it, I may have to travel to 3 or 4 before, with another cutscene, and sometimes even a black loading screen. Now I'm at the planet. Now I select the planet view, pick where I want to land on the planet, and oh, a cutscene to land. Then I exit my ship, finally. Oh, what a beautiful planet. Now there are faster ways of travelling, but the game doesn't really tell you how, so you have to find that on yourself, and you'll find yourself actually doing this cycle of travelling for quite a while until you figure it out. It is a bit annoying that this is how they made it, but I completely understand why, because of the game's limitations. It would take so much development time to make this and have all those assets of flying in the atmosphere. The game would be twice the size. But still, I don't think it would have been too hard to have a selection of different cutscenes and to get rid of the black loading screen, especially in 2023, and do what a game like LEGO Star Wars or Destiny does, where it shows your ship flying. Just a suggestion anyway. This was something that kind of annoyed one of my mates as well that recently started playing, as he really likes No Man's Sky and thought it would be a lot more similar to that game than it actually was. So space travel certainly isn't a strong suit for the game, but I personally never thought it would have been. And as said, Constellation is your main quest through Starfield. The basic premise of them is they want to collect these relics, as they are special in some way, and we are trying to solve the mysteries surrounding them. We have to travel the galaxy to get them, and they can be found in many different places, with some quests being very strange. From collecting one from a ship, as he has it as a cockpit ornament, to making a deal with someone who stole it from his boss. And then, when we get it, we take it, and then we decide whether or not to kill him after he's caught. Although, most of these relics are found in abandoned mines that we use our mining tool on, each of them giving us the same vision of the universe, whatever that may be. And on this journey, we go to these relic temples, and we get possibly the most surprising thing in this game to me, which is cosmic powers from them. I can't believe this, that they actually are trying to do Skyrim in space with these dragon shouts. I mean cosmic powers. They range from making a zero gravity zone so enemies go flying, to forming your own shield or making your own oxygen bubble, like Sandy in SpongeBob SquarePants. I never really cared about them and rarely used them most of the time, as I forgot they existed, as it's something I never expected and I always prefer to shoot my way through enemies anyway. And Vladimir on the ISS, don't know if that's a coincidence or not, whatever, is your guide to these and gives you the locations of these anomaly temples to get even more powers. Cool if you want them to become a dragonborn, but not for me. Who the hell are these guys? They seem to call themselves Starborn, and they quickly become part of the answers surrounding the relics. No one knows who or what they are. Some think they're a super advanced alien species, and others think that they're of divine origin. Cool ship though, but man, they seem intimidating. But after killing one of the main Constellation members based on who you decide to save, for me, Barrett died by the Hunter, we find out who the Starborn are by boarding one of their ships.
The Unity. You are on the path to it. It is a place, a gateway. It is where we were reborn.
And holy shit, it's Barrett and the church guy. And this can change based on your New Game Plus level and who dies in your playthrough. But for me, it was Barrett and Keeper Aquilus. And he basically explained how the Starborn are from different universes and collecting relics will take you to the Unity, so you can be reborn again, which starts New Game Plus. It's a cool concept, and the look and beauty when you finally get to the Unity is stunning. Still a bit annoyed that they weren't aliens, that's what I thought they were, as that would have been a nice reveal, and I still can't believe that in this game there are no actual intelligent alien life in the galaxy. But I do like the Starborn aspect and their whole story of the game, and I love the seamless integration to New Game Plus playthroughs. So that's the Constellation story. Now let's get back into the rest of the story in Starfield. Also early on your quest, you go to Aquila City, or well, the small cowboy village, and meet with Star Command, or the Marshal, who deputizes you in order to help rescue hostages stuck in the middle of a botched bank robbery. And this begins my favourite quest of the entire game, as I finally get to become a ranger.
Excuse me, I think the word you're searching for is Space Ranger.
Oh, Space Ranger. My dreams have finally come true. Eric Lightyear to the rescue, to infinity and beyond. You are some kind of bounty hunter / lone ranger, hunting down the people who tried to intimidate this farmer with a stolen ship and who is behind it. It takes you across the galaxy, tracking them down, finding the bigger dogs behind the operation and the motives behind the whole operation. It has an alright ending as you confront the person behind the whole operation, and you can put your conscience to the test as you confront them and how will you resolve this conflict in many different possible ways. But the ending of the quest sees you promoted from a lonely deputy to a full-on space ranger.
By the authority granted to me by the Council of Governors, I hereby promote you to the rank of Ranger.
And being part of the Space Rangers will also unlock different dialogue options to help you along your journey. Along with this, you get such a beautiful ship. It has the looks, has the interior space and has the weaponry. So much better than the one you start with, even with all the upgrades I had to put on my Frontier throughout the game. And I kept the Space Ranger ship for the rest of my playthrough as I loved it so much and kept my crew nice and close with me. The game also can take a bit of a random turn as well, as not soon after, for me at least. Hey, why have I been arrested? Hey, this is illegal, you can't just arrest me. But you're abducted by Commander Ikande. Is it Ikande, Ikale, I don't know. The head of the UC Vigilance, and he needs you to go undercover to help destroy the Crimson Fleet from the inside. The main pirate faction and pretty much a nasty bunch of guys. He essentially wants us to be a mole in order to gather intel on them and their leader, Delgado. This as well is a very good quest as you find a way to join the Crimson Fleet, get into their headquarters and meet all their crew, who also act as vendors where you can buy supplies from them and help the leader Delgado find his obsession, Crix's legacy. You have to find all the secrets surrounding this mythic object or whatever the legacy is, always later relaying that information back to the commander. The quest is packed with many twists and turns based on what you say and who you side with in the quest, possibly making enemies and making new friends along the way. And you basically get to do a GTA heist right at the end, stealing tons of credits as you have finally found Crix's legacy. Now this is probably the part of the game I suffered the most issues performance-wise, as I had to keep resetting my game over and over and over again, as the stupid credit thing barely worked. Also got my favourite weapon up to that point as well. And then the big choice, stay loyal and return to the commander, or betray them and side with the pirate fleet you've gained the trust and admiration of, getting a bigger portion of the loot and becoming an outlaw among the stars.
It is all up to you now.
I obviously sided with the commander as my wife Sarah told me to.
My best wishes travel with you.
Bloody hell, 250k! Okay. Yes! Thank you, Commander. And there are many more storylines and side quests with different NPCs and characters to meet that you can complete in this game to continue your space adventure. And even now I haven't finished them all, so it's certainly got a lot of content for everyone to enjoy and I can't wait to complete them all on New Game Plus. You are even able to do many things not related to any quests, such as the outpost system. The outposts allow you to plonk your own building on any planet or moon and build your own little space station. You're able to harvest for resources for XP grinding and crafting, build a base for your crew and keep a permanent settlement wherever you like in the galaxy. Now I've only just scratched the surface of the outposts and really only used it to mine resources for XP grinding, which was quite boring but I had to do it at the time. I believe that you could have about 8 separate outposts doing different things, probably mining, and I certainly will be exploring it more as I continue to be a space explorer. Another thing you can do in Starfield is engage in space combat, fighting other ships in space like the Crimson Fleet, Pirates or the Ecliptic. It can be rather underwhelming, especially with the first ship you get, but as you level up, increase weapon damage or even just get new ships with new weaponry, it does become much more enjoyable, as you feel really good and skilled as a pilot taking on a whole fleet of enemies and taking their loot for yourself. But you don't have to destroy them. If you take out certain parts of their ships, like the grav drive and engines, it stops them from escaping, allowing you to board their ship and take the loot and take the ship for yourself, adding up to 5 ships to your own fleet. But speaking about your own ships, let me talk about, for me at least, Starfield's biggest strength, the absolutely insane ship builder and customization. Never in a million years have I seen something this in-depth and free for customization of my very own vehicle. It's probably the thing I spent the most time on and had the most fun with, tweaking my ship each time I went to a new spaceport and saw what they had for sale. I made my ship massive, I condensed it down, I added more weapons, more engines, sleek body parts, and it all works seamlessly and perfectly together. I love it so much. Can you tell? And to see so many community creations being so unique and serving a purpose, like I've seen the Pelican from Halo, the future armor ship, Star Wars ships, it's unbelievable to see all these can be made within this game. And I can't wait to see what modders will bring with hopefully custom made ship parts, and I can see famous sci-fi ships coming to the game, especially those from Star Wars, Star Trek or other video games. This feature was excellently made and can only get better with more updates and unlocks to get, and for me at least this is my favourite part of the game to waste time on. But any good RPG in space wouldn't be complete without a whole host of characters and NPCs to interact with, work with, or flirt with. The Constellation members are the main ones that I had around me, but you can find a fair few amount of random people who you can hire for your crew, and each of them gives you unique perks and benefits seen in the crew screen. Although I never cared about this and never delved into the system, I just kept the first ones that I found. So Sarah, the Adoring Fan, Hella, Andrasia and Sam Coe were pretty much my crew for the whole game. It was just who I had. You also get a companion to accompany you on your journey across the stars, helping you out on your missions or even talking for you to give a different interaction. You can select almost anyone, including Cowboy Woodhead, perfect for Space Ranger Eric, but probably like most players I assume, I just stayed with Sarah as I don't really care about companions. To me, they just served as an extra pair of hands and an extra gun. You can change your active companion at any point, except to select few where the companion is locked with you. But sticking with a single companion can be beneficial as well, as you build an affinity and relationship with your active companion, and after enough time, you are able to flirt with them somewhat. Although it's only really through dialogue options handed to you, so long as you keep on their good side. So for me and Sarah, it was for me to be the goody two-shoes all the time, and I always have to do the right thing, which kind of annoyed me, as I did sometimes have to reset my save if Sarah didn't like something, as I wanted to unlock the marriage with her, but in New Game Plus, I certainly won't be giving two shits about what others think, like me in real life. But like I said, you can eventually marry one of either Sarah, Andrasia, Barrett and Wood. I don't think there's anyone else. But the marriage itself and the whole romancing is quite anticlimactic and only really leads to different dialogue. There's no like Witcher 3, Cyberpunk or Baldur's Gate 3 scenes in this game, unfortunate for some. The dialogue in the game is pretty good, with a good choice of different things to say and moods to set as you can play as a stoic good guy or the tough guy that's a prick to everyone. It's well spoken, although I do find it quite annoying that our character doesn't have a voice at all. I think that's something that could have been added, a male voice and a female voice, just for more immersion. And all you need is the audio as you speak to characters in this first person view, so you don't even need to animate your character speaking. Maybe modders could add it or have it as a DLC. But the NPCs in the game have a good selection of things to say and react well to different things that happen within the playthrough. Although the characters aren't really that animated because it's just a talking head. And I've recently began my first New Game Plus playthrough, and just a warning on a massive spoiler again here, and only being a couple of hours into it, it is noticeably different, especially at the start, as I have now become a Starborn and know all the knowledge of the past and the previous universe. I finally get the Starborn ship, which I had to try and steal earlier in my playthrough and couldn't. It's a very nice ship, and I'm happy to have it. You head straight for the lodge to meet Constellation in this universe for the first time. The characters have very different dialogue, and you do get the chance to either replay the main story again like me and hunt the relics, or skip it and move on to everything else. It does irk me a bit though that all you keep your perks, but I get it and I'm excited to keep playing the game, going through many New Game Plus playthroughs and completing as much as I can and trying everything in different ways. As now I'm going to be having Andrasia as my main companion rather than Sarah in this playthrough and siding with the Crimson Fleet, so sorry Commander, but I'm not there yet, just going through the story again. Hopefully I get more than 250k. And I have to give credit where credit's due. There aren't many bugs and issues I experienced in my playthrough, from the Crix's Legacy ending barely working, the Titanfall S mission in the biolab where I found a hole and kept falling through the map, to many eye glitches or even ship duplication. But despite all this, I still liked it, and it probably is one of the smoothest Bethesda titles I've played on launch, but it still does have those infamous Bethesda bugs. Hopefully will be solved with patches and updates as well along the way. So I really do think this game has been a massive success for Xbox and Bethesda, especially getting pretty good reviews all around. And for the most part, I do believe Bethesda did pull it off with Starfield, and lucky for them after they've had no stellar games for a while. It needed to be a spectacular phenomenon, and for me at least, it certainly was that. From the impressive graphics for a Bethesda title, to the breathtaking visuals, and the magnificent ship customization. It has something for everyone if you're a fan of these types of RPG games, and it is available on Game Pass for no extra cost, so you aren't really losing out on anything, especially if you already have it. Give it a go, just trust me when I say please, please, please get past the first 2 hours, it gets a whole lot better. And also something to think about is that Bethesda titles just get better and better as time goes on, not only from the updates the game gets from Bethesda themselves, but from some incredible modders who are probably already hard at work to make this game even better, and I can't wait to try some out. Probably on my next playthrough after my first New Game Plus, so I can't wait to see Starfield in 2 years' time.
In 20 years, in 40 years' time.
I do genuinely believe that this game will become Skyrim of this generation of gamers. Skyrim is now 12 years old at the time of writing this, and I guarantee that there will be some people playing this game that were too young to remember how big Skyrim was, or maybe weren't even born then, which is crazy in itself to imagine. Just shows that I'm getting old now. I'm 24. Now, that doesn't mean I think the game is better than Skyrim. Even though I personally prefer the setting, I'm not the biggest fan of medieval fantasy settings and I prefer sci-fi futures. But I mean it in the sense of this will become one of the most popular RPGs of the decade, one which will be re-released on next-gen consoles and have DLCs galore, and a thriving modding community for a very long time. It certainly has that potential and this is a good start to it. I just think that it will get drowned out though by the high quality of so many other games available now from all sides and consoles. So for me, it won't win Game of the Year this year, but I will be calling it Skyrim in Space as it's really good and I highly, highly recommend you play it at least once. Bye bye.